What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a little bit of a look at the second part of the Transformers TCG FAQ for Titan Masters Attack. A couple of days ago, I showed you the character card rulings. We didn't have time to get to the battle card rulings. Let me apologise, and let me fix that for you now. Now, we need to start off talking about stratagems. Stratagems are a new type of card in Wave 5. Jurassic Punch is the Volcanicus stratagem. It costs a star card to play. Yeah, these aren't free. And it stays in play separate to your battle deck and your character cards. And this particular one says, when your Volcanicus fiery champion attacks an enemy with fewer stars than him, you get bold until the end of battle equal to the star difference. And bearing in mind the Volcanicus is a 39-star character, I think it is fair to say that this could be kind of fun if you're playing Volcanicus. Certainly one I'm looking out for. But we do have a bunch of questions and we do need to have some clarification here. How many can you play? One stratagem per character, trait, or faction listed on the stratagem, as long as your team includes that character, trait, or faction. You might love Volcanicus, but you're only allowed to play this if you're playing a Volcanicus deck. That makes sense. So let's say, for argument's sake, if your starting team is all Autobots and does include Optimus Prime Legendary Warrior, then you're allowed to play Heroic Spotlight, because that's a stratagem you can play if your starting team is all Autobots, and you're allowed to play Duty and Honor, which is a stratagem you're allowed to play if you're playing Optimus Prime Legendary Warrior. You can play more than one stratagem, but it is one stratagem per character, trait, or faction. Nice! That is, of course, assuming you've got the space in your 25 stars for your team to actually allow you to play it. Where do you put them? On the battlefield. You reveal them as you reveal your team. There seems to be no specific reference to exactly where they need to go. Some stratagems have an ability that causes them to flip, i.e. they are very much a one-shot deal. You use them, and then you have to flip them. What happens then, ladies and gentlemen? What happens then? So an example here would be Saturation Bombing. Saturation Bombing comes along as a nice little stratagem to help out Windsweeper, and when it's in ult mode and has a number of damage counters equal to or greater than the number of enemies on the battlefield, you move one damage counter from him to each enemy, and then you flip it. So what does that mean? It's just a one-shot deal. You use it, you flip it, you can't use it again. Does it count towards your battle cards? Nope, they are never put into your deck. They are completely separate. Can you put them in your sideboard? Yes, of course you can, as long as you use the usual limit of 10 battle cards. So they don't count as battle cards to go in your deck, but they do count towards your limit of 10 battle cards when you're making your sideboard. You're not allowed to play them separately. Now, we also have hybrid battle icons that we see coming along for the first time here, and Headbutt would be a nice example of this. Two black icons, but they've got the Titan Master symbol in them. What that means is they only work when flipped if it is a character with that trait. So if a non-Titan Master flips Headbutt while attacking, they don't get PS2. But if a Titan Master flips Headbutt while attacking, they do get PS2. If an effect refers to the battle icons you flipped, can that effect see the colour of the icon, even if it's flipped by a character that doesn't match the trait? Yes. Yes, absolutely it can. So let's say, for argument's sake, you've got Black Beam Blaster, which is looking for two black icons. And if you do, your opponent scraps a card from their hand. You can put Black Beam Blaster onto a non-Titan Master character, and if you flip Headbutt, you don't get PS2 from Headbutt. But it does still count as a double black, and will still activate Black Beam Blaster's ability to scrap a card from your opponent's hand. So with stratagems and hybrid icons out the way, let's go and look at some specific ruling questions, shall we? Belligerence. Belligerence says until the end of your turn, each blue icon that either player flips is an orange icon instead. If it's a blue hybrid icon, does it become an orange hybrid icon with the same trait? Yes. Yes, of course it does. Blade Fury. One of your characters gets +2 attack until end of turn, but if it has a weapon, it gets +4 attack until end of turn. What happens if the character has a weapon when you play Blade Fury, but it is lost before you actually attack? You still get the +4 attack bonus. The bonus is determined when you play Blade Fury and will not change even if the character gains or loses a weapon later in the turn. Nice. Conversion Expertise, a utility that gives you tough 1 in alt mode and bold 1 in bot mode. How does it work with a head and a body mode? The combined character is in whatever mode the body card is in. If a character is in any mode other than alt or bot, Conversion Expertise won't give any bonuses. And remember, body mode and bot mode are not the same, so you'll be getting a bonus in alt mode here. Crystal of Power. One of the big cards from the set. It was literally used on the tees for the set. It takes up a weapon and an armor slot, but it gives you +3 attack, +2 defense, and is scrapped at the end of the battle. So what happens if you play it on a character that already has a weapon? You can, but you have to get rid of the weapon. If you've got a weapon but no armor, you've just scrapped the weapon. If you've got an armor but no weapon, you've just scrapped the armor. If you've got a weapon and an armor, you have to scrap them both. Remember, you can always play a weapon, armor, or utility onto a character at any point, but you do have to replace that kind of upgrade if there's already one there. If there's only one but not the other, you only replace one but not the other. ENERGON MACE. While the upgraded character is attacking an Autobot, you get +1 attack. While the upgraded character is attacking an Autobot leader, you get Pierce 3. Well, if I'm attacking an Autobot leader, do I get +1 attack and Pierce 3? Yes. You get +1 attack because it's an Autobot. You get Pierce 3 because it's an Autobot leader. You essentially look and go, is it an Autobot? Yay, +1 attack. Then you look and go, is it an Autobot leader? Yay, Pierce 3. Job's a good un. Enhanced Power Cell gives you +3 health. Well, let's say you've got 10 health, and you whack Enhanced Power Cell on there, and then you get 12 damage counters. Well, if it's scrapped, what happens? And the answer is, and we did see this before with cards like Energy Pack, anytime you end up with more damage counters on than you have health, you get KO'd. So while this is on there, you've got +3 health. If this goes away, and then you've got more damage counters on than you have remaining health, let's say a ramming speed is played, for instance. It's got Grimlock on the art, of course, I'm going to use it as an example. At the exact moment you end up with more damage than you have health, you get KO'd. Sorry about that. Escape Capsule. It is a utility, and when you deploy the upgraded character's head, you put this and any other upgrades that were on the upgraded character onto the deployed character that used to be a head. Can I play it onto a character that doesn't have a head? Yes. You'll get the +1 attack bonus. The skill won't activate, there is no head to deploy, but you totally can still play it if you really want to. Ghost Shield. You can only play it to replace an armor on a character with no empty armor slots, and if an opponent's card would cause it to be scrapped, you may scrap an armor from your hand instead, and then +3 defense is really good. If an effect puts an armor directly onto the battlefield without playing it, Hunker Down would be a nice example of this, puts armor onto tanks from the scrap pile, one of my favourite cards. Can you do that? Yes. As long as you're not playing Ghost Shield, it doesn't apply. And this goes back to something we've talked about in these rules videos a lot. The difference between put and play. A card like Hunker Down says, put an armor on it from your scrap pile, whereas a card like Ghost Shield says, play this only to replace an armor. Playing is generally playing it from your hand, although there are other cards that may ask you to play a card. Play and put are not the same, and this downside only refers to play, i.e. play it in tank decks, yay! But then put it on, don't play it. If one of my characters has a weapon or utility in its armor slot, ENERGON MACE, can I play Ghost Shield to upgrade that character? No. The wording of the card specifically says to replace an armor on a character that has no empty armor slots. There we go. High five! It's a new card coming along. And a fun activity when we're out with the whole, thing. Choose 2 of your characters. If they share a trait, repair 1 damage from each of them. So then, of course, we come to the question, well, what's a trait? And yes, I know what a trait is, and I'm sure a bunch of you know what traits are, but some newer players don't. Be nice. So if we have a look at Grimlock in alt mode, it has 3 traits: Leader, Dinobot, and Melee. So you would have to pick another Leader, another Dinobot, or another Melee character in order to heal 1 from each of them. Intrusion Countermeasure Software. This is a secret action which is revealed if an opponent's card would cause you to scrap 1 or more cards from your hand this turn, and instead of scrapping a card from your hand, you draw 2 cards. If the opponent's card includes other instructions, are those still followed? Yes. All this card does is it says that if cards would be scrapped from your hand, you draw 2 cards instead. It does not say anything else about any other effect of the card, so any other effect would totally work. So for instance, 2-pronged attack that lets you choose a character. If it's a tank, your opponent scraps 2 cards from their hand. If it's a plane, your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 2 damage to it. If you're able to get both of those off in one go, you still take the damage. You just don't actually discard the cards from your hand. There we go. Lose the initiative. Now this is another secret action. Revealed if an opponent's card would cause exactly 1 of their characters to untap. Instead, you untap 1 of your characters with the same number of stars or fewer. A very, very nice card that can punish your opponent for untapping, which is fun. If I don't have any characters with the same number of stars or fewer than my opponent's character, can I still reveal it to stop them from untapping? Yes. You read the cards top to bottom. If an opponent's card would cause exactly 1 of their characters to untap, you reveal it. Instead, you untap 1 of your characters. If you don't have one, that's fine, but they still don't get to untap, and that's kind of hilarious. Lucky dodge, another secret action. You reveal it if 1 of your characters defends and would take an odd amount of attack damage. Instead, you take no attack damage. How does this work with other effects that modify how much damage a defending character would take? Okay, remember, you get the choice here of the order in which you affect them. So hopefully you can make them work in an order that leaves you with an odd amount of damage. If it leaves you with an even amount of damage, you don't reveal Lucky Dodge, but you get to choose the order. Hopefully you can make it work for you. Master Sword. Now, Master Sword should look a little bit familiar to a card we saw earlier. You can play this only to replace a weapon on a character that has no empty weapon slots. And if an opponent's card would cause it to be scrapped, you may scrap a weapon from your hand instead. Oh yeah, and the +4 attack bonus. Yowza. If an effect puts a weapon directly onto the battlefield without playing it, yeah, it's the same rulings as before, right? Yes, if you're putting a weapon on, that's fine. Put and play is not the same. And similarly, you must replace a weapon in a weapon slot. There we go. Regenerative Core. Now, Regenerative Core is an upgrade armor, and when the upgraded character attacks, you move 1 damage counter from it to this, and then if this has 2 or more damage counters, you scrap it. Nice. What does it mean to have a damage counter on an upgrade? Nothing. You put damage counters on the upgrade. And you track until there are 2 on, and then you discard it. They aren't on the upgraded character. They are on the upgrade. Now, that does, of course, mean that anything that would repair damage from a character, move damage from a character wouldn't work, because these are not on the character. These are on the upgrade. Nice. Speed Trap. Now, Speed Trap comes along as the final secret action we're going to talk about today. You reveal it when your opponent plays an action, and it's the second one they've played this turn. And when it is revealed, you scrap that action, and it does nothing. And your opponent cannot play any actions this turn. Now, as a side note, I adore the artwork on this card, because 2 of my favourite cards that we've seen in the Transformers trading card game since it launched are Wave 2 Bumblebee and Wave 2 Mirage. And I've been trying to use them in a deck together since Wave 2 came out. And I've not been able to make it work yet. But Bumblebee, when you flip to alt mode, you may play an action. And Mirage, when you flip to alt mode, you may play an action. And here we've got a secret action that stops your opponent playing multiple actions, featuring Bumblebee and Mirage in alt mode. There is no way that is a coincidence. The artwork on this card makes me absolutely delighted. Oh yeah, wasn't there a ruling about this? Do secret actions count? Yes, of course they do. Secret actions are just a subset of actions. We've seen this before. It is the same ruling that allows you to play 2 secret actions with a brainstorm, because secret actions are actions, but actions that are not secret actions are not secret actions. SPYMASTER'S Ruse. It's not a secret action, but it does work against them. You may play a secret action, and while it is face down, this card and that card are not scrapped at the end of turns. So basically you just use this to keep a secret action in play, so rather than being discarded at the end of your opponent's turn, or scrapped in the parlance of this game, it stays there until it activates. If it's not revealed at the end of the turn, what happens? It stays there. It stays there until such a time as your opponent does the thing that triggers the reveal. Nice. TRITHYLLIUM Shield. When the upgraded character is defending against a Decepticon, you get +1 defense. While it's defending against a Decepticon leader, you reduce the pierce by 3. Same ruling we saw earlier, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you do get the +1 defense. It is a Decepticon as well as a Decepticon leader. What happens if you reduce pierce by 3, but it doesn't have pierce 3? Nothing. This game has no concept of negative pierce. So, once pierce goes down to 0, it cannot go any lower. If it's at 1, it goes to 0. If it's at 2, it goes to 0. If it's at 3, it goes to 0. If it's at 4, it goes down to 1. If it's at 0, it stays at 0. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Those are the rulings. That is everything that you need to know about the Transformers trading card game in Wave 5. And between these 2 videos, we have covered all of the rulings, and I'm a little bit proud of myself. And now we know what we need to know. As always, if there are any lingering questions, chuck them down in the comment section, and I'm sure that either myself or somebody else will get to them soon. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Transformers and a whole bunch of other games, and please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of good stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.